Well, I'm just trying to make sure we've got our Instagram page running here and connecting streaming software. So I'm assuming all's good. Okay. Well, hope you're having a great day, everybody. This is wonderful having you with us here today. The only one I didn't realize I didn't have the group, the Auto Dealership Academy group there too. So let me bring the Auto Sales Academy group in. That's very important to have them as well. And there we are. I've changed, if anybody noticed on the Auto Sales Academy, I changed the header. So I keep looking for that in my link, and it is different, obviously. Hang on one sec. I'm still there, everybody. I'm still here, but there we are. Okay. Technology. So StreamYard won't allow me to do Instagram and a group at the same time, or StreamYard just doesn't stream to groups. I think that is what it is on Facebook. On Facebook, I can go live like on Instagram, but so I have to invite everybody in the Auto Sales Academy to attend through watching the phone. Anyhow, let's talk about closing today. So let's close more sales with these tactics than anything else that you could possibly do. Before we jump into the tactics, you just got to set it up for yourself, or maybe that's what you came here to get right out of the gate. So you don't want to know all the gobbledygook and the blah blah blah. And I understand it completely. What happens with this tactic, such as when a customer says, you've done everything perfectly, you've facilitated the activities that lead to the sale, and they go, let me think about it. And the reason why they want to think about it is because you haven't exceeded either the monthly payment that they're currently paying on the trade-in that they're driving. And so they think to themselves, well, yeah, it'd be nice to go to the new vehicle. Yeah, it'd be nice to have all that technology. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a fresh warranty. Yeah, it does make sense that my payment isn't protected anymore. But gosh, to jump into another 72, 84, 96, 108 months worth of payments, to jump into a $400, $500, $600, $900 biweekly all over again for the term of whatever. And that's where you can close more deals first visit than anything else that you can possibly do by ensuring that from the very beginning, you're closing customers. So as soon as a customer walks into the dealership and you greet them at the door, as opposed to being like every other average, ordinary automobile salesperson with a hi, how are you? Or isn't it a beautiful day? Come up with a greeting that really gets down to business fast. That is what closes more deals first visit than anything else, where the customer believes that you are there to help them facilitate this interaction and buy from them. The customer didn't wake up this morning and looking for a new buddy and a new friend and someone else that they can hang around with. And as much as your advertisement may read that we have great coffee, you don't. It's not the place that people want to go to have a coffee. My hipster coffee joint in the town where I am has a crazy name like Mark Four Brothers, and it's just an old house that was a convenience store, that the convenience store turned into a video store, that the videos and the DVDs went away, and now the family was faced with, what do we do? And hence, lo and behold, they just started this really cool coffee shop. The couches are worn out. There's memorabilia all over the walls. The guy stores his enduro motorcycle inside, and that's what makes it. That's what makes a coffee shop. That is not what our dealerships look like. I was in a brand new Volkswagen dealership yesterday doing dealer visits, and it's spectacular. It's beautiful. The vehicles are lined up in a row. The desks and offices are off to one side. The reception is right in front of the door where you would expect it, facing the service entrance. And there's spot for people to work there. the point that I want to make, and I'm babbling, my apologies, is that in order to close more deals first visit, we need to get down to business right away because the customer is wildly nervous about doing business with you. They're very concerned that you'll be able to talk them into a vehicle and get it completely approved, and they will be forced to buy it, and they don't have any rights, and there's no way around it. And some customers think that we have this unbelievably powerful magnet to suck them in, and we have these tricky talk tracks that they don't realize what they're signing, and lo and behold, they purchase an automobile. And now they've got 84, 96, 108 months worth of payments before they cannot get out of it. And in many cases, I think North America wide, Canada, US, if that did happen to us, in many cases, many of us wouldn't say anything. So when you greet them with that dynamite greeting that is different than everybody else's and gets down to business, and you pick that talk track for yourself, the next thing that you want to do is determine what their budget is. But if you ask them what the budget is, you'll get shut down. They'll tell you exactly what they want to pay. I want to pay nothing forever and at 0%. Well, the only thing that's true about that is the 0%, because when they pay nothing forever, that's dreamland. And I think some customers are smart enough to think that if you had that offer, they would probably say, let me think about it. This sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? What's the hook? What's behind the scenes, right? That's the really smart, intelligent shopper that's been stung in the past by some tricky talk track and line. And that's the problem. And this is the easiest way for you to sell first visit right out of the gate all the time, is by not leveraging those old talk tracks that worked pre-internet. And when I say pre-internet, we're not even going back 2 decades, if you can believe that. We're only going back into 2004. Prior to 2004, the internet really wasn't great. A lot of people were still dialing in on modems. Not everybody had a high-speed connection, such as Bell 5 and coax cable, so fiber connection or coax. And what happened was, because of the slow upload speeds, because of the inconsistency, because of the load on the lines, even communicating with the hub wasn't that effective. There were many people, me included, that said, I don't think this internet thing is really going to take off. Well, lo and behold, fast forward to almost 2 decades later, now, a lot of those sales training tactics that are being facilitated to you, even to this day, with anybody who learned how to sell automobiles pre the internet, 2004 and early on. And of course, the internet was around in the 90s. My dealership was one of the very first to have a bulletin board with all of our used cars posted on it. There was just a description. There weren't pictures. It took forever just to load the text in and get it up. Obviously, we did not get any leads from it. This was right around the email development, I would say, at stage. AOL was gaining some traction, but people were very, very cautious about email and, what does this mean? And is it secure? And how do you get it? And, where does it come from? And how do you know that other people receive? Anyhow, what you do is you go from those tactics, those tricky talk track and tactics of finding out and old counsel and qualifying, for lack of a better term. I like to call it the interview step because I think it's softer. I think it's friendlier. I think it makes a whole lot more sense. In your interview stage, some of the things that we're creating barriers beyond just the ridiculous talk tracks, the barriers of filling out your customer relationship management software. And I know your manager's driving you all the time that this has got to be filled in. You got to maintain it. You don't have to get all that information in the first 5 minutes of meeting a customer. Customer didn't come into the dealership for a barrage of questions and for you to find out where they live, how they're going to use the vehicle, what's the monthly payment on their car, how many payments do they have left, what's the advertisement on our new vehicle, and what new one would they like to have. Refine all of that dialogue and presentation down to what the customer wants. What the customer wants is information on the new vehicle that they would like to go with. So I think the best thing that you could possibly do is get that information out of them quickly before you even give them your business card, before you even ask them for their name. And then you can share with them based on that vehicle that they've now selected. So there's your vehicle selection process all in one. Let the customer tell you what that is. And then you can share with them the advertised price. And the purpose of sharing with them what our advertised price is to determine, are we on the right vehicle and is it affordable? If we're not on the right vehicle and it is not affordable, what is another 3 hours of vehicle presentation, demonstration drive, trade appraisal, closing, and negotiation going to do? If it's not affordable from the very beginning, what is 3 hours later going to change? If anything, all you do is you exhaust your gross, wind up with a skinny, flat deal commission, and really wonder why to yourself, how am I possibly going to make six figures, $8,400 a month at these basic flat commissions that I'm getting across the board? Now, if your dealership has a flat commission structure, that's really easy for you to determine how you're going to make $8,400 a month, which is going to get you in the six-figure income. It just becomes down to numbers now. And if your dealership's not advertising enough and not getting enough people in front of you, then you want to watch our previous video from last week, prospect harvesting, because that's a game of numbers. You got to have a lot of people in your pipeline to fill it, to drop into the funnel so that you can be able to close them at this point. Now, the other tactic that I like to share with everybody, especially new novice salespeople, to take them from ground zero to 15 cars a month, is that going out to the walk around presentation, be it in the showroom or probably out on the lot this time of the year, because it's nice and warm and it's sunny and it's pleasant out, except for today in my region, it's pouring rain. Yesterday, pouring rain. I think it's going to end very shortly. So we're going to have a nice Father's Day weekend, which is fantastic. So we'll talk about that at the end of the whole thing. What are you doing for your dad this weekend? But for you to, on the walk around presentation, to determine vis-a-vis simple, straightforward, easygoing questions, getting to yes, straightforward, and ensuring that the features that you're showing them are features that they're going to love. There's a huge difference between like and love. And I think when you say, do you love it? I think a lot of customers may take offense to it, may step back, maybe a little bit surprised. You may see shock in their eyes. It's like, I don't love this vehicle. I really, really like it. That's all that you need to hear. And the reason why they don't love it, and they'll probably tell you why. They love their kids, they love their dog, they love their spouse, and they love their parents, but they don't love their vehicle. That's some people. Other people on the other side of the equation, one of my closest friends that I ride mountain bikes with and race with, his daughter purchased a Subaru WRX, absolutely loves the car, calls it her baby. Now she's living at home and she's 20-something years of age, and it is one of the most important things in her life, next to her bicycle and hanging out with her friends, I'm sure, and keeping her job. But she does refer to it as her baby. So that is a love. And when you get people to that point where they will actually do so, you've created so much emotion in your selling a presentation of this product that the customer wants, that how do they say, let me think about it? How do they walk away from it? How do they not want it? But keep in mind, we haven't gone all the way to the end. And so another tactic that you want to leverage is the very same sort of thing through story, telling great story about owning the vehicle. And you got to think to yourself, what is it? What if I were the customer and I were purchasing the automobile? What is that? Who am I going to talk to really talk about the passion that I have for owning this particular product that I really love? And just by asking that simple question, almost exactly how I've phrased it there for you, is enough to get the customer to see themselves owning it. The power of visualization is so wonderfully strong. We're not going to talk about that, and that's not going to be a whole training session. There's lots of work that has been done on it at professional athletes, especially solo athletes, so Olympians playing a solo sport such as cycling or skiing or tennis or any one of the track events, running, pole vaulting, shot put. They see themselves on the podium. They have prepared. Now, these are the serious ones. These are the ones that there's a lot of competitors, I think, that are there that would really, really like to win, and they're capable of doing so. But the ones that actually visualize and anchor that so firmly in their subconscious that it it just overwhelms their conscious mind. It's all that they think about. They've prepared a speech. They've prepared their next outfit of clothing that will go on themselves, so that if they were cycling, for instance, mountain biking, which is a sport that I follow, obviously, at the Olympics, when one of our riders wins, while they're doing a weigh-in and verifying that they haven't done anything to enhance their performance, we know all about that, that they put on a new, what we call kit, a new outfit. And that therefore, when they go up onto the podium, here they are, not only a winner, and they've got a brand new outfit on, and there's no sweat on their brow. And we all look at them and go, like, that's unbelievable. Like, moments ago, they were riding at a level and a rate that I can't even comprehend. And now they're walking around in what appears to be an unworn outfit, and no wonder they're the winner. They don't have any mud all over them because, well, they were out in the lead. And it's what we want to see. We don't want to see someone up there that is wiped out and covered in blood, and it's all over their white outfit, and it's covered in mud, and their hair is a wreck, and all the rest of it. I got a charge out of it watching Lewis Hamilton win the Formula One last week in Monaco. And I may not be right about Monaco. No, it was not. It was last week's race, but that wasn't the location. Anyhow, watching him afterwards, and I said to my spouse, look at the outfit. It looks like it's brand new. I'm pretty sure he would have changed, and grabs a ball cap that has a perfectly shaped brow for him. He wasn't shaping it, fitting it like we see some other competitors do. And the other two competitors, George being one of them, same sort of thing, his old teammate. And everything looks perfect, exactly the way we would picture them and expect them to carry themselves. And when they speak on the mic, there's no ums, ahs, stammers. It was a perfect summary and brief of the race and how they went. That is your closing. And this is where the closing is different with the behavior of the customer today, because the customer really knows the product. The reason why I started off with this whole dissertation about how the internet has evolved and how significant it has changed us over less than just 2 decades, especially selling the products that we sell. There's so much information that a client can gather, right and wrong. I think we'll all have that debate and discussion, but it's not so much that we need to now educate them on the automobile. And if you hear a trainer say that, I would steer clear of them a little bit. It's about how you can maintain the level of enthusiasm and excitement to own the product and finalize the deal. And that's the reason why I call it the closing apparition. This isn't just about closing and finalizing the deal. We're closing the deal all the way through, making sure that we're helping facilitate the decision to cut off from driving their trade-in anymore and step into this new vehicle. It doesn't matter whether we're dealing with an intentional shopper who is the individual that we've never met before and probably responding to our advertisement, which is hooky and captivating and brings people in, or it's our unintentional buyer who is our portfolio. They're perfectly aware of us, they're familiar with what we do, and of course we can speed up that whole process. We don't have to worry so much about the greeting and the interview. The bottom line is, when we facilitate the activities that lead to the sale and the micro commitments of closing, making sure that they love it, these are the tactics that close first visit more than anything else at all. And when then you put the icing on the cake, when you put the cherry on top of the sundae, the cherry and the icing on the cake really is you making suggestion that the customer can pick the vehicle up right now or tomorrow, or at least by the weekend. So we're talking Thursday morning, and you're going to have it ready for delivery Saturday morning before Father's Day, so that they can drive to friends, family, and relatives in their brand new automobile, showing off and being so excited about it. Is the reason why you ask those questions at the demonstration drive. Who's the first person you're going to drive this over to and show? And are you planning on doing that this week or by the weekend? And that is the assumption that they are here for no other reason. And this makes the two of you perfectly aligned. And maybe alignment should be the tactic that I really call this. When you get on the same page, when you're perfectly aligned, when you know the vehicle is affordable, when you know that they love it, the features that you're talking about and the equipment that the vehicle has in it, why wouldn't they say yes? Why wouldn't they jump on this? And that's why When you facilitate this so well all the way along, and the customer says, let me think about it, you got to step back and think to yourself, okay, what went wrong? Almost to the point where you suggest to the client that, well, dang, I can't believe that. Well, you have to look really disappointed. You have to look at the floor, then you look right at them directly in the eyes and you say, too bad. I really thought we had the perfect vehicle in the right color and available for you. And I was really hoping that you would become one of my clients. And so I get it. You need time to look at it and think about it. I do have the objection handling formula, which works extremely well. But if you've done what you believe to be everything correct and right, ready to go, and the client should be buying right now, and they don't, and they say, let me think about it, let me take a moment and just sleep on it, speak to my spouse, speak to my advisor, my grandfather, my brother, my uncle, my aunt, my coworker, whomever it may be, and you think to yourself, like, what happened? What just changed that we couldn't do before? And just by making that slight little change in your dialogue, listening actively, we've talked about all of that in the past. If you're not familiar with that, go back to it would be 2 or 3 classes back. And by the way, for all of you on the Auto Sales Academy, my apologies. Last week, thought we were live and we weren't. Nothing happened. So I should make reference to last week's class on pipeline. You can certainly get it at the Auto Dealership Academy YouTube channel and see the replay there. When we when we review all the things that they said that they loved about it, and then they tell us that let me sleep on it, let me talk to my advisor, they're actually in a confused state of mind. Because if they were not in a confused state of mind, or if you've covered everything off perfectly and they've said that they love it, and I don't mean perfectly by the definition of the word, but I mean you've got them to say, I love it and I like it and I can see myself owning it. And so therefore there's nothing else to think about. We're not talking about the price at this point in time, because I'll talk about that next week in mastering negotiation. Because when somebody says no, and the confused mind is effectively saying no as well. And that's the reason why they're holding off. So we'll talk about negotiation and getting over that hurdle a little later on. But at this point in time, you need to get to negotiation, as opposed to letting them go home and think about it and bring them back. And I know you've got a great opportunity, and NADA tells us 73% chance of closing them when they become a B-back. The problem is you got to get them back. And that's the challenge that we're all seeing right across the board. And this is what I'm hearing from coaching calls with the Auto Dealership Academy members in there, that I'm just not getting people to come in. So think about some kind of a dialogue that you can have with your clients that shows that you're really quite disappointed and that you don't believe that you're ever going to see them again. And while this is a very aggressive tactic, it's kind of the truth at the same time. When we're not seeing B-backs come back at the level that they did before, that means that they're continuing to shop, which means they're either driving the vehicle they're currently driving or they're going to your competition. You want to be candid about that. What did I leave out? What did I not share with you? I don't think you're coming back anytime soon because I've done something wrong or I have left something. Shoulder that responsibility. And that is enough for you to fire out webs like Spider-Man would do so to captivate them and draw them to you. Because they're going to say, no, wait, you've been great. You've been super. Look, we don't buy on our first visit. All I want to do is sleep on it, make sure it's the right decision, at which point you can act compassionate. And I mean sincerely compassionate. You're just not acting it out for the purpose of just trying to get a sale, but compassionately sharing with them. I understand that, but they did set out to make a decision today. As we talked about in the very beginning, and I was giving you the Volkswagen example, the beautiful showroom, as wonderful as they are, they didn't set out just to wander into your showroom and have a cup of coffee and sit and talk and chat and just be buddies. Those are your unintentional buyers. That is your portfolio that you currently have. Those are the individuals that believe in the brand. They're perfectly familiar with the dealership and the process, and they They just feel that because they have a vehicle from you, 1, 2, or 3, new or used or a couple of years old, you're not going to try to sell them again, but they will be back for their next one. They feel confident to be able to come in and sit down and chat with you. So don't be surprised if somebody comes in and says, hey, Bill, I think you're wrong. People do come in and talk to us and they do drink our coffee. You're right. But that's because of the friendship you've already created. The intentional shopper is the one that I'm talking about. And that's who we want to close more first visit to get them into that portfolio. So they will come back and have a coffee with you and hang out, and you can sell the second and third vehicle in their driveway. So that's what I wanted to share with everybody today on the closing apparition. Think about your welcome and how are you closing on the welcome? How are you getting affirmation and confirmation at the interview that this is the vehicle that they would like to own? And what have they found out through their research that you can capitalize on, tailoring your presentation and getting that affirmation, this is the vehicle they would like to own? Then moving forward, getting their mission to move into a demonstration drive is, again, how you get confirmation that they would like to move forward with this. So by the time they get to the end, the I want to think about it just doesn't come up, and you can close with it in negotiation. Now, if I want to think about comes up, they have a confused mind. You haven't built enough value to overcome the advertised price by at least $1 or their currently monthly payment on the vehicle they're currently driving. I keep looking out at my sales floor, my sales guys make a reference to that. Then you need to do that. You need to have so much value, and the value is created by diminishing their trade-in and pointing out to them, these are the shortcomings of the vehicle that you currently have. I don't think I'd call it junk or crap, or you've got to get out of that thing, or it's unsafe, or it's unreliable. Those are the weak points. That's the desperate commission breath that comes out. But what I think you can do really well is point out to individuals that that vehicle has served you very well. Now, the new one, as it served you well, the new one is only this much more or same price, could possibly be even less with all of this stuff. And let me show you how it works. And when would you like to pick it up? That's the closing apparition. This is how it has all changed. And no one's put it together, at least in my opinion. No one did back when I was selling automobiles. And the success that we are having throughout the group with our latest hero card is Max. Oh my gosh. Max sold 53 vehicles in 1 month this year, very, very recently, and delivered 41 of those, and then carried over the balance into the next month and sold in excess of 30 vehicles, not including the carryover deliveries. He doesn't count the deliveries, he counts the sold. And Max has been with us for over a year now. It's been absolutely wonderful. You'll see a podcast from him next Friday. We're doing the podcast, so it'll probably be available the following Monday, just as we go into the holiday for Canada Day in Canada, and US holiday for July 1st. But I will have that up as quickly as I possibly can. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy on Facebook, the Auto Dealership Academy here on LinkedIn and Instagram. Thank you so much for joining me, and YouTube, by the way. And if you have anybody else that could benefit, if you have a friend, if you've got a colleague on the floor who's desperately struggling to break double digits, not getting the support that they desperately want and need, really feel alone, and that every eyeball is watching them when they take a lead, give them this link. Tell them to join the Auto Sales Academy private members Facebook group. We have changed some of the imagery on that, freshening it up. I'm going to have a number of communication pieces going out to all of you to get your opinion, to make sure that we're on the right track. We're delivering value on what you're looking for. And if you ever want to know about the becoming an Auto Dealership Academy member, where you get lifetime access to me personally in terms of coaching, as well as the weekly classes that we had this morning at 10 o'clock. And of course, the online on-demand learning platform to help you reach your goals of selling 10, 15, 20 vehicles per month. This is the best part, with predictable consistency. If your goal is to sell double digits every single month, and that means 10, then we'll get you there with predictable consistency over and over again. And we warranty your success as well. We'll hold your hand all the way through to do it, because there are no guarantees in life. I can't post that as a guarantee. We will warranty that and make sure that we achieve that, and you achieve your maximum potential. So thank you so much for joining me. Look forward to seeing all of you next week for Mastering Negotiation, and have a great day, super weekend, and do something special for Dad. We'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye for now.